Anyway, how's it going? How are you? Ron Bronson. Today, I know you're thinking, some of you are like, oh my God, Harry Potter. Like, I don't know anything about Harry Potter. Like, spoiler alert, this is all I knew. But I thought, how clever, right? You know, I've seen all the movies, but yeah, like Star Trek, I got you. But but Harry Potter, I can't help you. Anyway, that being said, let's talk a little bit about dark patterns. So, can I? Oh, okay. Whatever. Great. You can, I'm not going to tell you where I work, but you can Google it. You probably figured it out pretty quickly, but you can Google that if you want. Whatever. I've been doing this stuff a while. So really this whole talk, sort of the genesis of this talk, was me thinking about, think about driving down the road, going 60 miles an hour, texting somebody, which none of you have ever done before, but like, and I thought about that once, and I'm thinking, why is that even a possibility? Like, why didn't we think that maybe that's not a great idea to let folks be able to do that? And you're thinking, yeah, that's like a user problem, right? Well, that's what made me think about this topic. So for the last couple of years, I've been doing talks sort of all around not just dark patterns, but thinking about ethics and thinking about like the ways we build things and how we abdicate responsibility for what we build to other people, whether it's to users, whether it's to our bosses, whether it's to the companies we work for, whether it's to our cats, I don't know. And so a little bit for the folks who are not quite sure what a dark pattern is. It's a user interface crafted to deceive a user into doing something that they might not otherwise do. Those stupid things where you try to click something and it puts an X somewhere else because you can't click out of the ad, that's a dark pattern. You can just, all of you right now just thinking all dark patterns you see all the time. There are a variety of them that exist. And what I love to tell people all the time is that dark patterns don't just exist online. One of my main frustrations, don't follow me on Twitter, it's a disaster, but if you ever did somehow ever just like stumble upon me on Twitter because it was late one night and you were bored, you might hear me complaining about mass transit, not in Portland so much because I don't use it, but in other cities when you travel, because what often happens is you see the kiosks that have really shitty UIs. I said I wasn't going to swear. Fail. That's a dark pattern. Like, who writes this text? Who designed this UI? If you've been to the supermarket self-checkout lane lately, same thing. Like, they don't test these things. These are problems. Trick questions, really bad content. I know that nobody wants to spend money on content. Really important thing. These are all issues. And they're all important to the things you're building. And for the folks who are like in school and you're thinking about things, these are really important things to be considering. Norman Potter, Google him. Lots of good things. Lots of good things. And the beauty of this stuff is a lot of the quotes and a lot of the things you're going to find. This stuff's not new. These topics aren't new. These conversations are not new. They may feel new because we're just experiencing them, but a lot of these conversations around human-computer interaction have been happening for 50 years. We just ignore what they were saying. La, 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 making money. Some other language we can use just to sort of make sure we're on the same page. About an affordance, a good way to describe an affordance is when you walk into a door and it says push on it. That's an affordance because you might think you need to pull the door. And friction doesn't always have to be bad. So design friction. Think of all the different ways that designing for friction could be good. Like making sure that someone can't get into my computer because I shouldn't be using it here. Or like your banking account, right? All the friction you create on a phone so that somebody can't just take your phone and immediately get to your, might be easier if you could just get to your phone and immediately check your bank account and how much money you have because all of you are swimming in cash, right? But like having friction to prevent that might make that a little bit better. So again, as examples of dark patterns, most of you should know what a dark pattern is. If you do not, go on the internet and type dark pattern, and then a dark pattern will show up to block you from seeing what a dark pattern is. But they exist in every kinds of things, from applications, from trusted companies to companies that are a bit more nefarious. They're deliberately intended to create stress so that you do something you didn't mean to do, usually involving money. That, again, we've already discussed that you clearly have a lot of. And as I said, design frictions can be helpful, and they're not necessarily meant to be deceptive. That being said, friction can be a real pain too. And so you have to be mindful of the friction that we're creating. So one of the things that happened in the past year of me sort of researching this talk and working, and this is a much longer talk. I had to condense an hour and a half talk into 10 minutes, and it's going to go great. But for the record, so why is it going so fast? Shh. But one of the things I stumbled into is the field of integrity engineering, which apparently is like a thing for oil field engineering, like for like derricks out in the ocean. Because it turns out, as you're all well aware, these things spill. So they have a whole bunch of folks whose only job is to mitigate all of the different things that might happen to ensure this doesn't happen. Spoiler, it still happens. But they created a job around it. It's a whole discipline around it. And it's not necessarily like super well known, but if you Google it, it shows up. And they hire folks to do this. And I'm thinking, seems familiar. Can't imagine why you might need somebody whose only job it is to think about these kinds of things. My favorite example to bring up, and it's not because I'm black, but it's also a thing, is when Pokemon Go launched, it didn't work in certain black neighborhoods. And you're like, well, why? It's because the goofballs who made it didn't go down the street. That's why. But before you get all high and mighty and go, how stupid they were, we're building things every single day and we don't go down the street. We do this all of the time, and it's not just about one group or another group. It's just about the things that we're doing. And so we have to ask ourselves questions about the things that we're building. Some fun tweets about, and one of the things I want to say about this topic too is that much of the conversation around designing for better design is about ethics, and it's not about ethics. I mean, it is an ethical conversation. But by talking about ethics, we abdicate the responsibility that all of us have, whether we're front-end designers or developers, engineers, UX folks, content people, IAs, whatever you're doing. What do you do when you realize that you're addressing the wrong problem? And in most cases, we're not empowered to fix that, like at a core level. Like, I recognize that. You're just a cog in a wheel. And if you saw where I started on the beginning of this whole thing, you understand that I understand all about being a cog in a wheel. But you still can ask questions. You can still push the envelope. You can still do things within your everyday practice to ensure that, if nothing else, you create friction to ensure that we do less dumb things or less harmful things or less bad things. So, again, what can you do about this? Well, other than cry. One of the things you can do, very actionable things you can do, one is play the designated dissenter. So you're on a team. You're trying to solve a particular thing, or you're really early in it, like before you even build anything out, you're just wireframing. Somebody needs to be on that team designated to be like, but why did we put that there? Why is that menu here? Why are we putting all icons here? Do we assume that folks are going to know what this means? Well, yeah, we know because, did we test it? Well, no, but no. Ask better questions. The second thing we can do is once we've gone past that, okay, you got to the company late. These things are already done. What about auditing UIs and products for dark patterns? Hey, Bill, I noticed we have a dark pattern. What? Let me show you. Hey, a lot of times you'll find, though, that we didn't realize that. It's a bug. Flag that. Ticket that. Put that somewhere else. Put an issue on GitHub or whatever else. One of the things I have not designed yet, again, this is a much longer talk, and I'm not giving it again until like June, so preview. Is exclusive. You're like, wow, yeah, I saw that. Ron Bronson, yeah, old news, been there. One of the things I'm working on, though, is this thing called like a 341, and you're like, why am I calling it that? I'll tell you when we're done. But it is like a script where you can just like designate what hey, I found a dark pattern, here's where it is, here's where I found it, and so forth. And that way you can just log these things, even if you don't have an internal form for figuring these kinds of things out. And you can do it online too. But I really like putting it on paper because I feel like people hate paper, and if you have enough of it, maybe they just think about it. And the last one is, and I'm going to say this that's why I bolded it. I didn't. That was a mistake. Is do your own research. Oftentimes we like to look at other folks' research. Well, some other company did it, and we're small, so if they did it, it must work. No, is that your audience? Are they your folks? Are they the folks you're targeting? It's important to make sure that users are seeing things early and often. And if you only have a InVision prototype, show them that. If you've got something more, higher fidelity, show them that too. But people need to be seeing these things as early as possible so that you can find these things before it's too late. Advocating for slower design doesn't make you lazy. It's just you need to be thinking about what you're going to let loose. Because once it's out there, folks are going to drive down the road 75 miles an hour to text their friend about a cool thing they saw on Instagram. And I have a reading list. It's much longer than this, but 5 books that you can take a picture of the slide or ask me later, and I will send you way more books than you want. Future Ethics by Senate Bowles that came out last year. Really good. Talks all about this stuff and does a lot of calling back to old topics about this. Again, it's not new. Adversarial Design. The Best Interface is No Interface by Golden Krishna, which is one of my favorite books. Design for Real Life by Sarah Wachter-Becher, and Dark Matter and Trojan Horses, which isn't really as much a book as much as it was a talk that he put into a book that's got some really good vocabulary. And I think the thing, too, is that, and I didn't put a slide for this, but so much of this is about nomenclature and being able to understand like that we're all speaking from the same language, that we understand the same terms. And we can't always presume that everybody in our organization, we always want to presume the best intentions, but folks don't always know what we're talking about. So it's helpful to A, normalize the language you're talking about. 2, making sure that you say, oh, you know, this book, I was looking at this thing, sending those articles, bringing those books in, sharing that knowledge. Not everyone's going to be receptive, but again, assuming the best, folks are often just want to know things that we're learning so that they can level up too. Speaking of Golden Krishna. We all want to do good things, whether we're building, big things, small things, little things. We all want to do good work, but in order to do that, we've got to be mindful of the pitfalls of the work that we're doing. That's it. Thank you.